Hello, full stack web developer, and welcome to Coding for All, the channel required to become a full stack web developer with applications and utilizing free resources. In the last video, we introduced to reducing file size and selecting elements using JQuery. And now we are going to see how we can add event listeners, adding and removing elements, and adding website animations using JQuery. So before we start our video formally, like the video and subscribe to the channel so we may learn and grow together as a developer. Alright, so the next thing that we want to explore is how do you add event listener to our HTML elements using jQuery. Well, as you come to see, this is way easier than using vanilla JavaScript. So let's start with H1. So now what we are going to do now, into our index.js, we are going to use jQuery by typing the $sign. For example, here it is. So $sign, then we want h1 to be selected, dot click, and then its function and its callback function. There it is. Thank you. It's a little slow. And inside this, we are going to say again h1, then we want the color to change, so CSS, and inside we will write color and red, because it is, I think, the most prominent color. We can even make it purple. So now we are here, do this, press, that's it. So what we have done here, let's say whenever we click the H1 element, so we have added an event listener that it is going to give it a color through a callback function, and the color will change to red or purple or green or yellow, whatever you want. So now remember, the other pain that we had previously is we wanted to add an event listener to all 5 buttons. For example, like we did in past for drum kit, but currently if I want this to change, I mean if I want the color to change after we click the button, and if we remember that what we have been doing, if we do the same thing right now, let me show you what I'm talking about. I can just comment this all out, and over here, following the old method, variable I is equals to 0 such that I is smaller than 6, such that I plus, inside what we're going to do, document dot, supposed to put query selector all, and we want it to change color after we press the buttons, and we want for each button, and so add event listener, and over there we will right click, and then we want to call a callback function through which what we want query selector for each one only, and we want its color to change, style has happened to EY, so style dot color is equals to red because it's the most prominent color again. Here we are, Control S, let me take you back, refresh, perfect. So now we have, through all these line of codes, so what it does, it just goes throughout, and whatever button we press, it will change the color of H1 to red after the button is pressed. Now what if I tell you there is a method through which you can do all this without even writing a loop. So now just give it a try. Think about it. Write in the comment section below. Let me see if you can get that. How you can use all this without even writing a loop. My throat is getting dry. Give me a second. Meanwhile, you can just write your answer how we can do the same thing without even writing a single loop. Give it a thought about it. Write in the box below. Yeah. So let me show you. At one side, it is this whole line of code. On the other side, our saver, JQuery. Our hero, JQuery, is here. How can we do that? So it's simple. The right button, and when the button is clicked, so we'll call a callback function over there, and then what we want $h1 to change its color to which one? To the red. Yep. What do you think? Would it work? At one side, so long code, so long concept, so long logic with loop. Now loop is missing and we did nothing. It's so simple. Is it going to work? Let me test this. Wow, it is working. No doubt about it. It is working. So aside from clicking listener, we can also bind a key press even listener. So for example, if we go into our HTML and just write an index for input and start detecting for keystrokes inside the text box, then we can use JQuery to do that by targeting the input and adding the key press even. And once a key press is detected, then we can log into our console.log to show what event key property was there and which key got pressed. So what I'm talking about, this is a simple input that I just wrote here. Input, nothing else. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, first of all, just get rid of all this because we don't want ourselves to be burdened with such huge codes when we have jQuery with us. Yeah. So here it is. Now we want to get for the input function. So with that, we will write key press. Key press. Then there is going to be a function. Oh my god, what has happened to my spellings? Function, and over there, it's not going to be a callback function with an empty thing over there, so it is going to be through an event. And what is going to happen there, it is going to give us a console log, and what it is going to give, event.key. The reason is we want to know that which key was pressed or which key was written. So here we are, refresh this, open developer tools. So there we are. Now let me write here. You see, each and everything that we are writing, it is coming over there. So anything that you wish, that is how we can detect it. So the next thing is I want to show you that instead of using .keypress or click functions, there's actually an even more flexible way of adding an event listener. For example, mouse over. Why don't I take it over there? So let's refresh all this. What about this one? Come on. Yep. So now here we are. I don't want this more at the moment. So now if I just go for a mouse over, how can I do that? For that I will use on mouse over, and then our special callback function is going to be there. And what it's going to do, it is going to change the color of h1, the one we always do. So now we can use a color purple because we haven't used that since our start. I got why it's not working. Color space and now purple. I hope that my spellings are correct. PURPLC. So before coder, I need to become good at spellings. And why don't I just comment out all this? I don't want this at this moment. Refresh. See? Didn't you see that? Let me show that again. So the color has changed to the purple. And this takes two parameters. Let me take you here just to explain. The first one is the event that you are looking to listen for, and that can be any of the event that we had access by using our JavaScript. So for example, let's look for something like mouse over that you can use in MD and docs or wherever you want to rate the mouse over events. And when it has happened, this is the second parameter, which is going to be the callback function. And when we do detect a mouse over event on our h1, then we'll change our h1's color to purple. That's all that it was showing to us. Now we will proceed adding and removing elements using JQuery. So for adding and removing elements, it's really simple. Now while our website is alive and running, we can actually use JQuery to add new elements, even to remove elements. Now for example, if I want to put a new button before my h1, how can I do that without even going to our index.html? Well, let me show you. Nothing to worry about. The great jQuery is here. So h1, and then we can write before. I don't think my laptop wants to work too much because it's not letting me do my work. The name could be like new, and there we are. Button, Control S, I'll go back. There is. So that means that we can create HTML elements at any time we wish just by using code. But there's actually a few ways you can do this. So previously I showed you how you can use before. Now there's also after, which creates our element after the element that we have created. For example, if I just copy all this, paste, what if I write after? Would it work? So it is. Perfect. It is working. So now there are two more options. One is prepend and the other is append. And the difference between say prepend and before is that prepend will add your new HTML elements into the item that you have selected just after the opening tag. Let me show you what I'm saying right now. So here it is, $h1. For example, if I go for prepend first, dot prepend, and over here I write the same thing that we have written above, BUTTON button. Then we can again write like this button. Turn to this. See. And now if I go and write the other word, append, I'm too lazy. And I can just write append here. And I know you might be lazier than me. And instead of erasing and writing all this, just a few tweaks and you can get that. Refresh. So this is before, this is after, this is prepend, and this is append. Even if I just go and I just try something new, let me see if I can get something out of it. Yes. I don't want to confuse you. So just a reminder, the before method, or what should I say? How should I just say? Okay. The button append that we append got added just after the content of h1, and for prepend it was just before the h1. So using before, after, prepend and append, we have a lot of control over where our newly created HTML element is going to go. So just a reminder that before method will add your new elements before opening tag of the selected element. So in this case it was our h1, and the after method will add it after h1. But the prepend and append are a little bit special. They'll add your element just before the content of h1 and right after the opening tag and append does. The opposite, where it gets added after the content of your h1 but still inside the h1 element. Now if you wanted to remove, it's really very simple. Why don't I try over here? For example, let me see, I'm not sure about it. If I try dot remove, there we are. So we have removed all the buttons, all the work that we did, all the elements have been removed. That is so simple, and trust me, I love the remove function the most because very nice, very simple, and got the result. And now we are going to move towards the animation. We are going to animate your website like no one else can, many different variations, and you will have the full control over it. Towards animation, just let me end all this. Don't want all this to happen over there. Okay. Now you have seen that JQuery is our hero. JQuery saves all of us from all the hectic work that we have to do in the absence of JQuery. So we all are so thankful to you, JQuery. Please help all of us like this throughout our journey. Okay, coming back. Enough of drama. JQuery also makes it really easy to implement some common animations that you want to do when you are creating your website. So for example, instead of what you can see over here, yep. So instead of adding our h1 CSS to color purple or any other color, now if we were to delete this method, so instead of using .css, we can use something like .hide, and this will add animation that will hide the selected element. So when we click any button on our website, it should just hide it. and it should hide this h1 because that is something that we are looking for. And why don't we just don't go for this, rather this would be, I think, much more beneficial. So instead of this we can write hide, control S. Now if I click OK, that's nice, that's nice. So even if I refresh it, it comes back, but there's another method. If I click this button and then I go to just develop tools, and over there I just write $h1 dot show, it comes back. Now instead of making only our h1 hide and disappear forever, we wanted to toggle the hide and show. We can simply say toggle instead of hide. Okay, so let me show you what I'm trying to say. Instead of hide, I can write toggle, control S, come back, and then when I click on any of the button, it will show my h1 and I can toggle its appearance by clicking on my button. For example, let me show you. Okay, I can just remove this right now. See, but yeah, it's the hiding property is very certain kind of element. It disappears, an element gets removed from the flow of our HTML, so everything else moves up, like you can see right now. It's that quick. Now if we wanted that to be a little bit more progressive, then we can use something called fade out instead of hide toggle. So it will going to impact its opacity of my selected element, and then it will hide it. And of course, fade out has its related opposite, which is fade in, and that will make our h1 appear and also fade into full opacity. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, come back. I can write here fade out, refresh, click. See, it has got some better speed than before. If I just come here and then again go developer tools, I just click here, so it is gone. Now each and everything has its opposite, like Newton's third law, action and reaction equal in, I'm sorry, I'm not good, equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. See, I still remember that. So h1 dot fade in, enter. That's what I'm talking about. Now what if I want to just, you can say, merge two different things? For example, fade and toggle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So instead of this, I'll write fade, and along with this I'll write toggle. Control S, I'm back, refresh. See, then press here, it comes back. Press gone, press come back, press gone, press come back. So I can do this all day long. So in addition to fading and hiding, you can also use slide up and slide down. Say with me, slide up and slide down. And what does this is it kind of just collapses our element that was selected, and slide down will just uncollapse that element. And again, slide up comes, and slide toggle. So this is very simple. For example, I can write here, although I don't want it like that, why don't we go with the best one? Slide and toggle like we did for the fade one. Refresh. Wow, that's even better. I like it. Yep, I really like it. And I want to do this all day long because this is interesting, at least for me. Why don't you try this too? So you can use it for something like drop down menu, for example. Now, if you wanted more fine-grained control over your animation, then instead of using these pre-built ones, you can use something called .animate. And this allows you to define some custom CSS that you want to gradually animate towards. So inside the parentheses, we can insert a set of curly braces. And inside the curly braces, we are going to add a new CSS rule that we are to animate to. What I'm talking about, no need to worry. Here we are, and instead of all this, after h1, I can simply write dot animate. I hope my spellings are correct. And inside brackets, we are going to put these curly braces, and then opacity can be like 50%. Control S. Let me see. Refresh. Wow. This gives more control. For example, I can change the opacity to 50% as I have written here. So you can see it is not getting more transparent, and it might be a little easier if I change the color to something a bit more easy to say like purple or green or yellow, whatever you feel like. Now the thing to remember about the animate method is that even in between the curly braces, you can only add the CSS rules that have numeric value. Remember, in curly braces, you can only add CSS rules that have numeric value. So that means that you can't animate to something like color, right? You can't change the color to red. When I run this, even if I try to get this, I'll get error. You'll get error. And it will simply say red, purple, yellow, green is not defined. And this is because it's very difficult to create that kind of tween animation that gradually progresses from one style to another using animate method. So you have to stick to the things that have a numeric value. For example, you can say a margin of 20 pixels or 50 pixels or 60 pixels. It can do. If you want to make it percentage, it can do that too. So 20% margin, which makes it much bigger. But essentially, just remember this, that this second value in the CSS that you are trying to animate to is a number value. Now, if you wanted to have more than one of these animation happening, then you can chain them together. So what do I mean by chaining? Let me show you. What do I mean by chaining? So here is the animate thing, okay? So before animate, what, although it won't have too much impact, but let me show you. Slide up, slide down, and then it's animate. Control S, I'm back. See, so it's even getting that opacity. That is how great it is. So, and if you're worried now that you can't remember what all of these methods are called or how to use them, then what should I say? You don't need to worry at all. Don't you remember? We are programmers. We don't need to memorize anything. That's not what it's about. Essentially, for me, programming is basically like, you can say, an open book exam. And nobody memorizes things for open book exams, right? You just try to understand what's going on, because remember that there is always the documentation, the whole world wide web out there to help you in the exact moment that you need the information. You just need to know that they exist and roughly what they are called or what they are able to do. So for example, if I don't know slide up, slide down, I can just simply write slide JQuery function, and then I can just get these documentations through Stack Overflow, MDN. So there is nothing to memorize. Just grasp the concept, do the practice. Always remember that all the resources that you need are just a few keystrokes away, nothing else. And very soon, I think so, next time we will be starting a game. I'm not sure, I'll just work into this, that what I want you to learn for next step. So for that, I want you to just practice what we have done up till now, because this is it for today. I hope you caught this and embrace yourself, because we are going to do something special next time. Practice these concepts as you have got whole week for this. But before that, like and share the video and subscribe to the channel so we may learn and grow together. Until next week, good luck and bye, full stack web developer.